Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. It's been quite a while since I've managed to do one of these live videos. For those who don't know me, I'm Jen Turnham and I am a mindset coach, and I'm passionate about using my psychology degree to help women find freedom from the unhelpful thought processes that are holding them back. I'm also the host of a free Facebook group, Bright Sparks Empowered, such a long name, I keep forgetting it, that's bad. Bright Sparks Empathetic Extrovert Warrior Women. And if you'd like to join that, basically it's for women who are highly sensitive people. And the definition of people who are highly sensitive, there's 4 criteria. And it's the acronym is DOES, DOES. So it's people who have a high level of depth of processing information. Overstimulation is the O. E is for emotional responsiveness and empathy. And S is we're sensitive to subtleties. So if you think that's you and you fit the category of being a highly sensitive person and you're extroverted, then that is a truly unique combination. And that's why I started this group. The reason it's unique is because the majority of people that are highly sensitive are also introverted. So if you're highly sensitive and extroverted, then that's what puts you in that truly unique combination. And it's a group of people that I love with a passion. I'm one myself, and I just think it's such an amazing combination of personality traits. We also have unique challenges, which is why I created the group. So we'd love to have you join us. I've left the link to join the group in the post attached to this video. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, well, first of all, I should probably tell you what today's topic is. Today's topic, if you've probably already read it below, self-care. What does that really even mean? And are you doing enough? I'd also love to hear from where you're watching this, whether you're watching live or the replay. I would love for you to drop a comment as to where in the world you are, because I love seeing how far and wide these videos spread. So I'm in Perth, Western Australia. It's really hot outside because summer has hit. So I'm sitting in the nice cool air conditioning doing this video for you. So let me know where you are, what it's like where you are watching from. But back to today's topic. So self-care, what does that even really mean? I've decided recently that I wanted to start addressing certain topics, words that get bandied about all the time, but we don't necessarily really stop to think about what they actually mean, and are we implementing them in our life in a way that's helpful for us. So this was thank you to one of my clients who highlighted this to me recently. She did one of my courses and learnt all about reframing, and she said, oh my gosh, Jen, reframing has been bandied about so often, and the number of times I've heard people say, oh, you just need to reframe that. But nobody ever bothered to teach me how to do it. So that's kind of what gave me the idea to start addressing some of these things in a little bit more detail. So self-care, what does it really mean, and are we doing enough? So the definition of self-care is any activity that you deliberately do to take care of your mental, emotional, or physical health. Now, to clarify that in a little bit more detail, I wanted to tell you a story about something that happened to me recently that really got me kind of thinking more about this topic. So at the moment, I'm seeing a physiotherapist for part of my treatment for my shoulder issue and my chronic fatigue syndrome. Is I'm learning all about activity pacing, which is essentially how to pace yourself so that you don't overdo it and have a chronic fatigue crash. And part of the intro work that you need to do to learn about activity pacing is you need to come up with a needs list and a wants list. So what are the things that you need to do in your daily life, and what are the things you want to do? So I'll share with you my needs list. So my needs list includes work 5 to 6 hours on a computer, clean the house, sweep the yard, and that's all I had. And then on my wants list, I had daily mini yoga routine, yoga class 3 times a week, jog 10 kilometres, because I used to be able to do that before I got sick. I want to be able to sing again, and I want to socialise more. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because when I went through that list with the physio, she said to me that some of those wants should actually be on the needs list. So what she was basically getting at is I'd just put kind of, they were all work-related chore type activities. And her point was that if we don't put some pleasurable activities on our needs list, the result is that our life can end up feeling pretty pointless, because there's no pleasure, there's no sense of achievement at the end of the day. And that really got me thinking, because I think it's just a really powerful message to take from that, is that I ended up choosing yoga. I want to be able to get back to doing a yoga class once a week. So the point is that if I don't have that as a need, I'm not going to probably give it as much priority as I do other things. However, if it's not on the needs list, then my life is going to feel pretty empty and pretty pointless. So I thought that was a really interesting lesson to learn, and that's why I wanted to do this video today, because then that kind of linked to the topic of self-care, and do we ever really stop to think about what it is, and are we doing enough? So that was my next question to you all, is self-care, knowing that it's something that we deliberately do, or we actively engage in, that takes care of our mental, emotional, or physical well-being. How often are you doing self-care activities? Have a think about that. Do you do them every day? Might you be lucky if you get to do one once a week? And if you're not doing them on a regular basis, what excuses are you using to move them down the priority list? For example, you might be using the "I'm too busy" excuse. You might feel selfish when you engage in self-care activities because you feel like you're putting yourself before your family. So the excuses that you use are going to be very interesting to highlight to yourself, because what I'm going to suggest is, as I mentioned before, if you don't put these self-care activities in your day, your life is going to just feel pointless, feel meaningless. You're not going to be the best version of yourself. And if you're not the best version of yourself, then you're not in the best position to be there for the people that are in your life. So we come back to the fill your own cup first concept, which I've talked about in a lot of my videos. So when you fill your cup to the point of overflowing, you have so much that overflow is all the extra that you can give to others. Whereas if you're trying to give from a cup that is less than full, then it just keeps getting emptier and emptier, and eventually you're no use to anybody. So the key with self-care is you need to actively plan and include self-care activities in your daily life. So if you're someone who's watching this and you realize, yep, I definitely need to do some more self-care activities, I've got a bit of a checklist that should help you start to think about what you could do, how you could do it, how often you could do it. So a couple of things on the checklist. First of all, you could come up with a no list. So a no list are basically things that you decide that you're not going to do anymore because you don't enjoy them and they take up too much time, or they are having a detrimental impact on your life. So on your no list, it might be, I'm not going to check my emails at night. I'm not going to attend any social functions that I don't like. I'm not going to answer my phone when I'm having a meal with family or friends. So they're just some simple things that you can put on your no list. Another thing on the checklist is start with sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Could you get more sleep? And what could you do to ensure that you're going to bed earlier each night? Next on the checklist is plan some social catch-ups. And the important thing about this is it's got to be with people that you truly enjoy being with, as opposed to you feel obliged to see them. And even with this one, even once a month is really good if you're not doing much of it at the moment. And the last item on the checklist is try to do one pleasurable activity each day. Now that, when I first read that, I kind of thought, whoa, that could be difficult for a lot of people, because particularly people who are very busy and they've got very full lives already, but think about it in a different way. So a pleasurable activity can be something really simple. It can be something that's not actually very time consuming. Could be as simple as taking 5 minutes out, going and sitting in the garden with your cup of tea or your glass of wine at the end of the day, and just taking 5 minutes out for yourself. That could be something that you add to your routine. But anything that gives you joy or gives you pleasure. So it could be reading a book. The catching up with friends falls into this category as well. Going to watch a movie, having a date night with your other half. All of those things fall into that category. And as I said, they don't need to be time consuming. Some of them are, like going to watch a movie. You're going to have to find a couple of hours in your life, but you don't have to do that every day. So hopefully that checklist has given you a couple of ideas on how you can incorporate more self-care activities into your day. So your challenge for this week, and we'll chat about this in the group, is I'd like you to try, or I challenge you to try, a couple of things from the checklist and report back in the group. So let us know how you found it. Did you come up against resistance? What excuses was your brain throwing into your head so that you didn't do the self-care activity? And if you did manage to engage in some self-care activities, how did it feel? What kind of impact did it have on your mood, on your energy, on your happiness levels for that day or that week? So that's pretty much it for today's video. So self-care, we've talked about what is it really, how it can be really simple activities, and how important it is to put self-care activities into your life. If you have any requests on other topics that you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the group. For those of you who aren't in the group, then we'd love to have you join us. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, and I will chat to you soon.